All right, and we are officially live on Twitch for the first time. Perfect.
Hi, wonderful. Thank you for that, Justin. Hello,
Mhm.
everybody. Happy Friday, and welcome to the very first episode ever of The Joy of Automation. Because if you're going to do anything, you might as well be pro. So, I'm Paul Sokol. I've been doing business automation, revenue operations, advertising automation stuff since 2008. I started this in grad school and I worked with my buddy and we started a video email company. And then I actually worked for a CRM company, which CRM is just a fancy term for a customer database. And then for the last almost 10 years, I've been helping clients, hundreds, probably thousands of clients make their businesses better with this kind of stuff. And we have here Justin, who I
Hello.
have been training for the last couple of years on automation and advertising. And he's running this whole live stream today, and he's doing fantastic. Everybody give Justin big thumbs up.
Round of applause from me. Um, yeah, it's been an interesting journey, learning automation as much as I can, especially since we've only been doing this full time on my end now for approximately 3 weeks. The amount of information that is flooding my brain is a whole other level of education and knowledge, I will say. It's a brand new experience. I've never learned this stuff before. I knew it existed, but I didn't know what it actually took to actually scale everything out in its entirety as far as automation goes. But kind of leaning to where I am right now, just a small snippet of my background. I come from a professional standpoint with a more of an advanced degree in business management, international business as well, leaning more into the ones of technical entrepreneurship slash management itself. I graduated that almost with a master's. I could still be going back for that, but almost a master's degree nonetheless with a TEM degree. And it's been a lot of fun. It's taught me where I need to be right now as far as how as a business is supposed to operate, how it's supposed to function, and actually having my first official real business mentor here as well, teaching me the in and outs and the real ropes of how a business is supposed to function and operate, what to do and what to never do.
Yes.
And it's been helping out a ton, which is more reasons why I am here as well to learn even more than what I already do.
And you're going to get a PhD in business, Justin. I mean, yes, you could get a master's, but it's very academic.
I could.
And as you've seen in the last 3, 4 weeks, as you've been shadowing and helping out with clients and stuff, you're doing graduate level stuff, man. You didn't learn anything. In fact, did you ever learn anything about digital tracking in any of your business classes?
Nope, never. That's not a thing people think about.
What about advertising? Did advertising even show up at all?
Nope, not even in the slightest. The only little bit of advertisement that I already had some basic information on was more along the lines of like my own freelance stuff that I do. And that's just anytime I made a video or something, I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know how to advertise, but the current side of me is like, I know how to do stuff on Facebook. I'm like, I want to show this to everybody. Let's show it to everybody. Here's money. I have it. And it's just like, here's like $50 or like $100. I'm like, sure, well, they really think that's my lister. It's like, so, yeah, well, it's good, cool. We have stuff. And I got really lucky. Yeah. The video ended up surpassing 28,000 views, which I wanted. I just wanted the views. I didn't really care at the time. I got really lucky. That does not happen. I can guarantee you that does not just happen on a whim. But saying that, no, I still wasn't doing it properly, and dare I say, I was not being pro with my own work.
That's yes. It's school is great. We love it. I have a whole master's degree in electrical engineering myself. There is no business training, and even for business folks, like you get conceptual ideas of stuff, but there's no like real in the trenches experience. And so that's why we're going to be doing the joy of automation, at least for next couple of episodes here. Because if you're watching this, let us know that like you think this is cool and you would like to learn this. Because when it comes to business, it's about relationships, and when it comes to automation, this is relationships at scale. And that's all it comes down to. Doesn't matter if you're doing marketing stuff or sales stuff or even fulfillment stuff, delivering the thing that somebody bought, you can have automation help you along the way. And we're going to go ahead and talk about that in future episodes. So that's the entire purpose of what we're going to go ahead and do in future episodes. And maybe we'll talk about it a little today, but it's just to simplify the idea of using automation in your business and show it in action at the ground level. What does this for real actually look like? Okay. So, I actually want to share with you a story about how automation made my life better back in 2000. This was 2009. So, as I mentioned, we had a video email company and we had a piece of software where people could record videos and email that to their prospects and clients and stuff like that, right? Um, when people signed up for a brand new account, that was a manual process. Somebody went to our website, they checked out, and then somebody like me or my support lead Reed were given a task to log in, create an account, give them a username, give them a password, and then we sent it over to them. Well, one day we did a big promotional webinar, and we had a probably maybe 1,000 or so people on this live webinar training, and this was in 2009. We talked about video email and what it was for and how it could help people. And then at the end of that webinar, at the end of that live presentation, we said, if you want to go ahead and sign up, go here, register, we'll get you going. We had about 300 people sign up, and that's not a flex, because every single one of those 300 people we had to manually put into our video email database and then send them their username. So myself and my business partner at the time, Will, we hired like our neighbor who was one of our best friends. I think I hired my girlfriend and her best friend, and their job was to literally like take these people that bought, put them into the video email database, and then send them their username. And so I trained them on how to do that. But it literally took 2 to 3 days of in the trenches, 8 hours nonstop to deliver what people are expecting, which is not pro. That's not thrilling, and especially now in 2025. If you buy something, you should be expecting to like get access to what you have in the next couple of minutes. That didn't happen. And so we took a big lesson from that, and we worked with our email provider, the video email company provider, and we said, listen, when someone signs up, we have to create their account automatically, because we can't be like paying our friends to like add them into here. And that changed our life, because now we could sell something, and then immediately within a couple of minutes people would get access to their account. They could start creating videos and watching tutorials on how to get it going, and that was a big deal. So now it's the joy of automation, whereas before it was a supreme necessity. And I'd argue it's even more of a necessity now, because again, it's about relationships at scale. It's not 300 people signing up at once and we do this one-on-one for every single person. It's 300 people sign up, they all have the same experience. So that's what we're here for today. And Justin, do you
Yeah,
have any stories around automation and how that has impacted your life? I know you've done a bunch of this stuff before. Do you have any fun stories
yeah.
that come to mind when it comes to this kind of stuff at all?
Once it comes to automation, it's funny because I never used it on a scale necessarily of how we're currently using it right now in different applications and software. But I think along the lines, I have used it quite a lot in my personal experiences in a different end, being a Twitch streamer myself in the past, and doing a lot of work, and I've learned how to use different bot setups and stuff for Twitch for automated messages to Discord servers, automated and like just different features in general that I thought were going to save me more time and effort. But eventually, I did end up actually learning more that there's a time and place for automation, and it shouldn't be used on different scales of what you're looking to do. Um, and a good example for this is, and it's something I've learned the hard way, and it's something I'm experiencing even on certain Discord servers. Anytime someone going live, you want to humanize that as much as possible. And what I mean by that is take personal time out of your own schedule, type a little snippet of like, hey, we're going live. This is what we'll be doing. Hope to see you there. Quick, short, simple, sweet, awesome. What people don't want to see is an automated bot message every single time you go live with the same message. You'd be like, one would be like, oh, be pro went live, be pro went live, be pro went live. And you're just like, perfect, I get it. And now I have like 50 spam missed messages in my Discord server, and that makes people not want to be there. That's not that's not ideal. And I get that from I'm not going to obviously say what servers, but I'm on a decent amount of servers on Discord, and some of them have the tendency to do that. And I'm like, hey, this is annoying, and I don't even reach out to them. You know what I do? I mute it. And other than that, if it gets too extreme, I stopped being in the Discord server because I don't like being spammed. No one likes being spammed.
No.
And the same takeaway we get from using the applications Paul and I use for regardless of what it is, mass majority of it's going to be through like Click, which we'll talk to you eventually about. But a lot of the automation stuff, that's why we have very specific things in different goal sets on be like, hey, let's make sure we don't spam people. And then, I go a little bit heavier to that, learning the different in and outs with different bots for like Discord, you can do that too. But a lot of them are the same, a lot of them are separate from each other, but that's my basic knowledge of automation, that there's a time and place for everything. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. And that is one of the best takeaways I've honestly learned from automation before I even got my start into what I'm doing here.
That's a huge thing to point out. That's a big takeaway. Is like just because we should doesn't mean we will. It doesn't, just because we can do it, should we actually do it? Because again, my belief is that automation is relationship scale. So to your point, if it's like, hey, B Pro is live, hey, B Pro is live, B Pro is live, like that's a very droll, boring thing. It takes away from the relationship. What happens if you had a friend that was texting you every Friday and said, hey, we're going to the pool hall. Hey, we're going to the pool hall. Hey, we're going to the pool hall. Like, eventually, you're just gonna be like, this person's just a nerd. They
You're just
don't
going to
get
drown
it.
it out. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just gonna ignore them. And so that's a really good ground level example of, I'll say, the fails of automation. It's not joyous at all. That takes away from the relationship. And so that's why we're wanting to do this show. And again, we're going to at least commit to doing it for about 5 or 6 episodes after this week. And I think we're going to do it every single Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific. And Justin, I can't see the chat. I know that you can. So if anybody's
Yes.
here, let
Yep.
us know what's going on. If
We
somebody's
do
flaming
have,
out,
yep, we
thumbs
have
up.
Blaze and Sally currently in chat right now too. We've been talking on chat here while we tell our stories here.
That's a hilarious name. And so, why should you be here? Why should you show up every single Friday? Well, obviously, it's for people running some kind of a business. So it doesn't matter if you're doing like a business to business or business to consumer. Doesn't matter if you're doing product sales or service sales. If you're any kind of like an entrepreneur or like a marketer or even like a freelancer, like a small business owner, or even like an entrepreneur, you can go ahead and use automation to take the relationships that you're doing and expand it. And again, relationships at scale. So, Justin, it's
Hmm.
Friday right now. If I were to have a party, or let's say, well, actually, we met through the music scene out in
Yeah.
Phoenix, Arizona. So let's pretend my band has a show next Saturday, Justin. If I were to send you a text message on Monday that says, "Hey, Justin, Shadows has a show on this Saturday at the Nile. Hope to see you there."
Yeah.
Great. You might respond to it, you might not. On Wednesday, let's just say Wednesday afternoon, which the timing is very important, and we'll talk about that in future episodes. If I were to send you the literal exact same text message on Wednesday afternoon, how would you feel about that?
To
Let's
me, I'd just
assume
be like, oh, that's strange how you managed to say that perfectly, word for word, again, for the exact same time frame.
yeah,
Feels a
and
little robot-y,
that
just,
messes it up. So even if it's Wednesday, maybe I say, "Hey, good afternoon, Justin. Hope your week's going well. Friendly reminder, Shadows has a show at the Nile on Saturday. You gotta show up, right?" And then uh, let's assume that Justin doesn't respond because he has his own life. He's got a bunch of stuff going on. And then maybe on Friday, at the end of the day, the show is tomorrow. I'm really hyped up. I'm excited. Let me go follow up with all the people I've been showing up and reminding me, "Hey, Justin, hope you had a great week, man. Are you going to be able to show up at the Nile tomorrow?" You know, um, that's what good automation does. It enhances the relationship. What you would do for one person, do that for 100 people, 1,000 people, or more. Bad automation is automating weirdness. So, like, if I sent the exact same message Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, that's just weird. Really, that's a spammer. And, for the creative types, you've probably all seen this where just like, so and so tagged you and 99 other friends in this post. Hey, I have a show. And then 2 days later, hey, so and so tagged 99 other friends on this post. That's just spam. That does not help the relationship. So the joy of automation lies in really analyzing and breaking down what would you do one on one, and that's what you go ahead and automate. And that's actually why we're doing this, because there's a lot of companies out there, big ones, small ones, solopreneur types, that maybe they use automation, but they're actually hurting themselves and they don't even understand that they're hurting themselves. And so we want to help create a space for people to learn and share and ask questions and be like, "Hey, I have this CRM, I have this database tool, I'm using ManyChat, whatever. How do I make sure people don't feel like they're just like a number being spammed by something?" Because that at the end of the day, that doesn't help you. You can push more people away by not paying attention to what you're doing and just spamming than actually caring a little bit about what you're doing and then programming that into the system. Um, and
and
that's kind of, I think, a lot what we're
that
going to
you,
talk
uh, it's kind of funny that while you were talking about that, and here's a perfect example. We're using automation in general. Like I said, if you're using any program, any bot, anything, like we currently use Streamlabs CloudBot for different implementations for little fun things here and there. Because I put out the message. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to ask away. The word free is a trigger word for automation. It just so happened to congratulate me, myself, and other people now. It says to get something in our freebies. Because you can click this link to get your free automation course. So if you want to stay up to date with things we will be teaching you, and you want to learn it sooner, here's a chance. Because
there.
free things are nice, and I totally knew that was going to happen, 100%. I did not. It's not something I forgot by any means. I totally planned this out willy nilly.
totally planned. This is
Yes,
not
a
one
hundred
person trying
percent.
to do it. You know, but that's a really good example. But look at the language that was used. It was a very humanized, very personable. This is what a real person would type to you in the chat. And that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. Again, relationships at scale. You could create a trigger that says if there's the word free in a comment, go download my thing, right? That's just such a transactional thing. It's very transparent, and I don't feel cared for that. I don't feel cared as like a person being involved in that. But then just having a little bit extra context, you know, we're happy to hear that you want to see this. Go here. Let us know if you have any questions. And that's a lot what we're going to be talking about on the show. And this is something you're going to be able to learn along the way because the idea of automation, it's not just relationships at scale. It does come down to the ground level tools and the strategies and the tactics that you're actually doing. So we'll talk about timing and sending things out and like what do you do in a marketing part of the journey versus what do you do in a sales part of the journey versus what do you do in the fulfillment and the delivery after people have bought. And we will talk about copywriting. In fact, and when I say copywriting, that's just words that sell. Copywriting is salesmanship in print, and like that's the industry term, copy. The language. Because if you think about it, from back in the day, it was all um, Xeroxes and mimeographs. What's the copy that people are going to see, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking about that earlier this afternoon, Justin, looking at the words we were using to communicate with one single client. It wasn't something that was going to go to hundreds of clients. It was literally one message to go to a client. And man, we looked at those 3 to 4 sentences and scrutinized every single word like a half an hour. And then it was great because at the end of that, Justin was like, well, hold on. You don't even need the first 2 or 3 sentences. Just ask the question. And he was absolutely right because my first 2 or 3 sentences that I wanted to say was coming from a place of my own ego and it wasn't going to help the relationship. It was kind of admonishing what the client has done, and objectively Justin was very smart in saying you don't need that, just ask the question. And it worked great. And since we sent that message and right before we started the show, the client was responding with like really good meaningful feedback on that. So
Hey, perfect.
yeah, no, it did really good. So you're going to learn a lot about this in the joy of automation. And I think of it, it harkens back to the Bob Ross joy of painting, right?
Hmm.
We're just going to go ahead and put a nice little web form right here. And then this is going to go ahead and send a nice little text message. And then here's another little email, right? Because again, it's all about relationships at scale. And today is a little bit of a free form just so you can get to know us a little bit, get to know what we're talking about. And so I'd like to actually take a break a little bit to see what, if anything, are the viewers experiencing from this.
Well, it's actually interesting that we just got onto this topic right here because I got a message back from Blaze and Sally here, replying back to the Streamlabs automative response.
Ooh,
And she says, this actually caught my attention way faster than anything that sounds super robotic. 100%.
ooh,
And
okay.
I took a lot of time to figure this stuff out, even realistically before we even started like working on this kind of stuff together, is something I've been teaching myself more because you have to be so careful with what your words are, what words you're going to use, how people are going to interpret stuff. It's chaos to begin with. But once again, as Paul mentioned, this is where copywriting can it doesn't just help in a salesman or marketing or advertising standpoint. It helps with just everyday life. It's just where it teaches you about your words and what people are saying and what people aren't saying are both equally important.
Yes.
But this is also kind of why I worded everything this way specifically for like Streamlabs Soundbot is because I don't want it to sound robot. If something would be like, hey, we have free stuff, check it out. And be like, okay, maybe. But then it's like, for this, it's just like, hey, you triggered this awesome word. It's like Pee Wee's Playhouse. And it's like, hey, yeah, you found the word of the day, and yeah, I should have to myself from the word of the day. So Richard was showing to me, and I'm like, this is actually really cool. So yeah, 100%. So this is it's just that mix between the copywriting sense of like how you humanize something more, like not overthink it, just be you, but also
Yeah.
in a different scale of it in a sense that will eventually make sense. But then also we're like, what do I actually look for in the way things should work? And like, how would I interact with you? Like, we've interacted a lot in the past. Like, that's how I want my automation to sound. How would I sound if I were talking to you? And I can't do that to, know, tens of thousands of people at once. That's not a thing, but you can make automation do that for you. You'd be like, hey, let's make it sound like this. And then this response, let's humanize even more. Um, and Sally responds back, you would get more feedback from welcoming, friendly message than someone who's using robotic tone would get. 100%.
Right. Sally nailed it. And I think about the words that people use, and I think about brands and stuff like that. And even massive, giant corporations, you have to have your voice. You have to know how you talk. So, like, Wendy's on social media is savage. You
Oh,
ever
yes, I
seen
love it.
Wendy's on Savage? And they're like a massive, huge company, right?
Multi-billion
But
dollar
they
industry, yeah.
have their voice. They know how they talk, what they talk about, who they're talking to. And they've developed their brand, their listening is like, you better be on your doo doo, you're going to get roasted.
And people want that. They reach back out to them. They're like,
They're,
yo, Wendy's roast me. And they're like, okay,
and
we're there
it's
too.
so good. And that allows Wendy's as a giant brand to interact with other giant brands because a lot of them don't have that. It's a very sterilized, like, we have to be super proper and
It's
these are the
such a
words
fantastic
we
guerrilla
use.
marketing strategy. It really
It
is.
is. And is it really guerrilla or is it just them being, being real? It's just knowing who they are.
I think it started off as them being real and realized as a business professional standpoint, it is a form of guerrilla marketing, but they're never going to like acknowledge that on a deep level. I think they're just like, hey, this is actually working. Let's continue with this. We find it funny. They find it funny. Let's just see where we can push the
Keep fertilizing
boundaries.
our burgers, yeah. Or like Liquid Death. Liquid Death is such a great brand because they're the exact same thing.
That's
They
really well.
know who they are, and they are unabashed about who they are. And they've gone like they've taken it to like level 1,000. So like they get hate comments all the time. They
Yeah.
have at least 3 albums, like albums, music that's like on Spotify and all the places you can listen to where they took their best hate comments and turned them into songs. And it's hilarious. And what does that do? Now me as Liquid Death, I'm not, but like Liquid Death now has extra marketing collateral. We can now sell vinyls of like our best hate fan music, you know? And they literally just sell water in a can, you know?
And they mark up
Um,
the price significantly, yes.
and they mark it up because
It does
at the
well.
end of the day, it's about people resonating with who they are.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it is. I'm wearing a shirt. My buddy Real. Um, he's a life coach. He's a really good guy, and his shirt is like, "Do you want it?" Like I resonate with that. The other day, yesterday, was it yesterday? Maybe Wednesday. I was wearing a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shirt. Now listen, I'm about to be 40 in November, but I love the Ninja Turtles. I'm going to happily represent the Ninja Turtles on my chest. In fact, who's your favorite Ninja Turtle? Tell us in the chat. My favorite Ninja Turtle is Donatello because purple is my favorite color, and also he's like the smart nerd. Justin, who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
So this is where the turn of events may cause some problems. I didn't
Oh,
grow
good.
up necessarily with Ninja Turtles. My brother did.
Okay.
They acknowledge, oh, Sally says Leonardo.
Okay.
Um,
Nice.
which more there's lots of people who say there was no wrong answer, and then will come back with quoting words on that.
Of course.
For
That's
me,
right.
I can't choose because I was never big onto it because it's not a cartoon or anything I personally grew
Well,
up
you're a
with.
little bit younger. You're a little
Yes,
younger than me.
I'm
Okay, so
33, so
what was your Power Rangers, right? You
oh, I
Power Rangers.
love Power Rangers.
Okay, who's your favorite Power Ranger then? Which Power Ranger? The original Power Ranger.
My favorite one, if anything, was probably the Green Ranger.
Yeah, dude, me too. Dude. The Green Ranger is so cool.
He lost
Yeah,
his powers consistently, but whatever. It was
he
the
kept
color
getting them
green.
back.
It resonated with me.
Yeah, yeah, dude, that's cool. And then they had like all the Zords toys, and
Oh, 100%.
and it was just a giant Voltron ripoff, which you don't know that as a kid, but now as an adult, like, nah, I'm just ripping off
Yeah.
Voltron. And even in Rick and Morty, they did that with like the ferrets and all the ferrets. But yeah, no, that's um, we lost the plot. I think we lost a little bit of the plot, but the point
Yeah.
is, we have fun doing what we're doing, y'all. And thank
Yeah.
you for hanging out, especially you, Blazing Sally. Like again, that's hilarious. If you've never seen Blazing Saddles, go watch it and just be aware that like that movie is like close to 60 years old. So
It
could
is
not
one of my all-time favorites. I didn't actually watch that movie until I met my wife either, so
dude, it's so good. Which
love it.
actually, um, Lethal Weapon, Leslie Nielsen, all that stuff. I think
Hmm.
today is when the new Lethal Weapon comes out with Liam Neeson replacing Leslie Nielsen, and I can't think of anybody better than that
That's
because
absurd.
it's just a stupid like Mel Brooks style kind of just dopey jokes, and it's got to be
Yeah.
hilarious because it's Lethal Weapon, but.
As Sally says, you never lose a plot if it's making sense because the subject is still the same.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Off topic, being called Sally here, even though that's my name on here, is strange.
Okay. Well, we'll call you the Blazing S. How about that? Just to make you
Well,
super
just
cool.
remember you can always change your username on Twitch if you choose to. Just as long as
Yeah,
you tell us who you are, just as a friendly reminder, we got you.
we got you. So, I guess we're actually we planned this today, y'all. We had a whole timeline of like, here's what we're going to talk about. Here's how long it should take. We're actually over our timeline, which I'm super grateful for. That means
Yeah,
that
it's
we
going well.
we riffed on the stuff we wanted to. We had some great engagement, and we're going to get more engagement. In fact, Blazing Ass, go tell other people to hang out with us on Fridays at 3 o'clock Pacific because that's what we're going to be talking about according to the episode outline now. So since this is the first episode. I haven't shared my screen. We really didn't talk about automation. We just kind of got like a little philosophical on it, but
Yeah.
on the next episode, I think we have 5 episodes after this, we are really going to go like deep diving into like how do you take your marketing and make it a good relationship at scale? How do you do your sales and scale that? What do you do for fulfillment and just make sure everyone gets the same experience? And so next week, we're going to go ahead and talk about marketing and we're going to talk about lead magnets, the idea of giving away something for free that's valuable and then it positions you and your business as the place to go. And I like to say it's the teriyaki chicken test, which I'll talk about this next week, but a sneak peek into how it works. It must answer 2 questions. Does it provide real value? Is this value provided whether somebody buys or not? So if I'm at the shopping mall and there's somebody in front of the Chinese restaurant with little toothpicks of chicken, that's literally the perfect free gift. That's the perfect lead magnet because it gives me a little bit of value for the problem that I have. The problem is I'm hungry. Here's a little bit of chicken. So now I'm not as hungry. And then I also don't have to go buy anything from you. I can if I want, but I don't have to. And that's like the perfect free gift. And that's the perfect place to go. So, uh, if you do use any kind of automated tool or customer database, CRM, anything like that, I've been doing this humbly. I've been doing this for almost, well, since 2008, and I've worked for companies to do this directly, and I've worked with a bunch of clients privately doing this, and I've likely helped probably about, no joke, about 1,000 or so more small businesses, either directly or indirectly, with the stuff that I've released or the things that I've shared. And it's all formulaic. So that's the cool thing. It's all based on what's the experience you want to create. And it really just comes down to storyboarding out what is the customer experience. Somebody does this, what do they need to do next, what's their next major milestone, all that kind of stuff. And so I've actually released a free mini course called How to Automate Like a Pro, where in about half an afternoon, if you watch it start to finish, it's only like 2.5 hours worth of stuff. You're not only going to understand our philosophy behind how we plan customer journeys, you're also going to get the exact same tools that myself and Justin use internally to deliver customer projects. You're going to get a Google Doc that is the storyboarding element of it, and I'll teach you how to use that. And then also a document that shows how to write the messaging around that, so like the emails and the texts and things like that. And then there's probably another free gift. I can't remember what it might be in this moment. But if you would like to automate like a pro, it's very simple. Our website is bpro.events/ALAP, automate like a pro. www.bepro.events/ALAP. Go ahead and get that mini course. It's absolutely free. You'll get to see more of me, which maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing. If you think I'm cool, awesome. But you're going to get some real value out of it. And even if you're not in the position of like a business owner or anything, maybe you're just like a systems person or like a marketing person, you're going to be able to learn stuff that you can take to your leader and make your leader look better. And then of course they're going to want to keep you around for absolutely ever. And then we are all over social media. So
Yep.
we're streaming this to Twitch, we're streaming it to YouTube. If you are on Facebook or LinkedIn, just search Be Pro. Because again, if you're going to do anything, you might as well be a pro. Am I missing anything, Justin? Because I know this is your like,
Yeah, no problem.
if I've been doing it right,
Yeah,
good.
all this is working out perfectly. Um, and it's funny, I can't possibly begin to explain the perfect timing of everything. Because right when you started talking about social media, Streamlabs automation immediately also said follow us on social media. And it was so I did not. There's no way I could have possibly planned that. Like I just put in a certain time and just said, "Hey, this sounds good." This means I planned like out our notes so well that I integrated to a T with the automation process that I made
Well, that's awesome.
for
Everybody
this.
give Justin a massive round of applause in the chat. Go
That's
emote him.
insane.
Because he's been the producer of this whole thing. This, in fact, was his idea. I was like, hey, Justin, I'd like to do more content. He's like, why don't you do a live? Why don't we go on Twitch? Why don't we go ahead and talk about automation? And then, like, he designed this, he planned it out, he set up all the operations, all the production for it. And I'm happy as a clam because selfishly, I just get to sit here and talk and like follow the talking points he gave me. And I guess everything else is going great, which is super phenomenal. So good job, man.
Thank
Uh,
you. Yeah, that was exciting. I know it's
but
something that was very straightforward and basic, and all it says is follow us on social media. You can, but also if you guys didn't realize, there's also a reason why there's no links that follows that content. And I also did that on purpose. If you're watching us on Twitch right now, you'll see an overlay thing that has some social media stuff on there. Those overlays are clickable links. It's a one click to go right to our information, whatever you need to know. And you might be also wondering, well, how come Evan aren't on there? One, that'd be too much clutter. Two, if you go to the page, You can get the rest in there because I want you to look at every little section of what we have because that's kind of the idea. Like it was like, boss thing, like get like it, even if it's creating it, and I get myself engaged of what else do we have? And I'm like, I already know this, 'cause I'm the one creating it. But it's a real sensation of like, oh, this is actually really cool because now I'm focusing here, but now I'm focusing here. I want to know more, so I click to the other link, and I'm like, everything's here in front of my face. I don't need to do any work to find this. And I'm like, who wish the
Well,
rest of life can be like that? It'd be wonderful.
yeah,
And it
maybe
can.
one of these days we'll get there.
Yeah, maybe.
So, well, that's perfect. I can't think of a better way to round this out. So, Justin, thank you
Um,
for being a badass producer.
yeah,
Do
of
you have any
course.
closing thoughts before we tell everyone to have a fantastic weekend and then to, of course, go download everything that we give them and, you know,
Yeah, before I do conclude here for anything on my end, Sally does say question without links, along with some ellipses. You'll get more people to read the overlay more, minus clicking a link in the chat. Um, as far as that goes, there's nothing necessarily wrong with having your automation process for like Twitch to be as simple like, "Yeah, you can follow us on social media and then having a string of different whatever platform you want to send people to. The problem is it takes up so many lines, and I have mine on a automated time set, so kind of see it as like a delay timer in a sense. So there has to be an X amount of lines. So like I have it set to if you it has to be a minimum of 5 lines from an actual viewer. But then after that it has a set time where it will also put out that timer. So we can be careful with that. But it doesn't I don't want it to look like there's too much spam going on. Otherwise you just see a bunch of links and then people are like, well that's annoying like everything clean and like a perfect slate where it's just like it's a simple hey crossing social media so why can I do that if you pay attention to the stream you get the information literally in front of your face if you want to go to a about page I got more for you if you want to click each of those click on like logos that I set up for everything the banners you get even more information you can deep dive if you want but it's up to you have to do it you can go to link or a deep dive. It's your choice. Yes, I'm glad that makes sense because we're,
yeah.
we're about making things as clean as possible for people.
That's really good insight, Blazing S. So let's find a good balance between that, Justin, of like giving them links, but also not blowing up the thing.
Yeah,
And we're I'm new to you're not new to this. I'm new to this kind of stuff. So anything we can do to make it better, please let us know. And we're going to have a lot of fun next week. Next Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific, we're going to go into the Joy of Automation, the official first episode. We're going to go ahead and start and talk about marketing and lead magnets and things like that. So
yeah,
thank you so much for watching. Blazing S, you're badass and cool. Thanks for being here
appreciate
and
you.
hanging out and giving us great feedback. And on the next stream, like I said, we're going to talk about marketing and lead magnets. And so, again, if you'd
Hmm.
like to automate like a pro, go to bpro.events/ALAP. Go get the mini course. And until then, have a great weekend. It's August 1st. I can't believe that already. And
Yeah.
we'll go ahead and talk about everything next Friday, everybody.
Yep, sounds good. Blazing Sally, have a good day as well. Thank you once again for coming to the stream. We appreciate you. Until then, we'll see you guys next week. Have a good day.